Hello, today we are reviewing and looking at an interesting instrument. It's called Osiris. It's by Libre Wave and it's an Egyptian lyre, which I think the actual instrument name itself is a simsimiyya, I think. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. And this is actually quite an interesting instrument and very well put together because it does have the Arabic scales with it as well, the Maqams, which is why I love it so much. But disclaimer before we actually get into the review, Libre Wave did reach out to me and ask if I want to look at any of their sample libraries, so they sent this over to me for free, and they're also offering a 25% discount with this code that will be available for 2 months. I'm also now an associate with them, so if you click the link down in the description, I do get a small percentage of the sales as well. But that does not mean that this is not going to be an honest review. I did do my research, I looked into it beforehand before I agreed to anything, and I did tell David, the lovely man who contacted me, that I'll be doing an honest and a fun review of this product. So you are going to be getting the good and the bad and everything in between. I'm not going to be telling you to buy this product. Ultimately, I want the sample library to speak for itself. I want us to have a bit of fun while we're doing this. And if you want, you can buy it. If you don't, it's up to you, really. And so with that aside, let's get stuck in with the review. So Osiris, as I've already said, and it's an Egyptian lyre. It's quite an interesting instrument. And what makes it even more interesting, and something I quite like, is he actually built his own sampler as well. This doesn't work in Kontakt. It has its own dedicated sampler, yeah, that's the word, called Rhapsody, which is this thing over here. And what I really like about this is the fact that it works on macOS, Windows and Linux, and it's actually very solid and very stable and quite a cool little sampler, as you'll come to see, and very easy to download. He does little videos as well to help you through, but I had no problem at all. I didn't have to watch it. I literally followed these 3 steps and it was as simple as that, and love the name Rhapsody as well. So that's the sampler that you use the software in. But the actual product we're looking at is this. Now it has up to 12 repetitions, and I think that is specifically with, it does say here, with the plucked articulation, while the picked articulation has 6. But both articulations were sampled at 3 dynamic layers as well. So we've got up to 12 round robins with 3 dynamic layers, so there's so much going on there. And as I already said, the playable Maqams as well. He's not just gone and sampled the chromatic scale, they have gone and actually used the instrument within the context of its culture, which is actually really cool. We find a lot of instruments that they just kind of go with the Western sampling, when actually, when you want to put it in context of where it's from, they miss the point. So they haven't done that there. But link is in the description for the paperwork as well. But let's just move into the sampler now itself and start talking about it. So this is what happens as soon as you open it up. And of course, if you already have your product, quite a familiar sort of style, keyboard at the bottom and sample libraries at the side. Let's click on that. We're going to go to factory. It's a simsimiyya. And then we have our different presets. We're just going to go with all articulations, let that load. And as we can see there, it's all very, very simple. I actually really like how this is laid out. It's very tidy. I like the fact that we have these graphs as well, especially for the ADSR. I love a little graph, and these knobs are pretty easy to work with. You can move it, double click to reset, and click shift to, is it right click, double click? I know there's a button. There we go. It's shift click to actually type in the number as well. And we can affect the curve as well. Oh, that's nice. Very tidy. And with the velocity envelope, as you can see there, you can actually modify it yourself. You can click, right click to delete, right click to drag the curve, and just click to place dots along the way. And you can put little curves there. You can essentially do whatever you want to this velocity sensitivity, and that's probably a word I use so much in my videos, is velocity sensitivity. And the fact that I can edit it so easily, I really like. Something I love about this product. Expression is right there, and I believe our mod wheel, yep, the usual one for expression, works for the expression. All our articulations, Maqams, which are the I was going to say Abrahamic, it's not, it's Arabic scales. And if you actually click on the blue bits up here or go through them, there is a non, which is just your standard chromatic scale. And as you can see there, it kind of changes what's going on with the different bits you play, which is this orangey bit here. The green itself, I believe, is just percussion. There you go. So you've got little just percussion hits if you want to add that to your piece as well. The blue is where it gets a little bit more interesting. There's these two different blue notes which kind of threw me off. I had to watch the walkthrough for this, which the first one re-triggers the last note you play. So we go up here and play that and then hit the last one. It basically makes it easy to do a trill. So instead of having to go like that, you can go like that. Useful, I guess. And the next one detunes the note you hit by a quarter tone. So the next note you hit that, and then you hit the next note, and it detunes it by a quarter tone. Yeah, those were perfect pitch. We'll hear that. I could just about hear that myself. And that, of course, helps with the actual context of the instrument itself. Now, there's one thing it does, like I say one thing, there's two things I wish it had, but then putting it in context to the price, which is £20, is it doesn't have multiple mic positions and it doesn't have an inbuilt reverb. I will be adding a reverb later from Logic. I'll show you my favorite free one that's included in Logic, but I kind of wish there was at least something inbuilt reverb wise. It is a very dry sound, as you probably just heard, so it's easy to push away, but multiple mic positions and a reverb would have been really nice to see. What else have we missed? Oh yeah, down here, this is just changing between articulations. Pretty standard key switches. You can see the key switches there, and this affects the volume of the articulations. Right, I think we've covered the patch. Oh yeah, you've got volume and panning down there, yada, yada, yada. Plucked. Let's get in and start playing some demos. Now what I like is just how much you've got going over that. I must admit it's a very central sound. I feel like I will definitely be adding reverb, but there's also a free spatialization tool used by Isotope, Ozone Imager 2, and I think by applying that as well, creating a bit more space within the sound and some reverb, you'll get a little bit more going for you with this sound. I think we'll definitely try that later, but at the moment let's just judge the sounds for what they are. But I like the fact that right at the top you have that ping, that it's like detuning of the instrument and kind of wobble. That's what I'm going for, wobble. I really like that. You can hear the different layers. You do have this lovely quiet and nice ping at the bottom. And I think it would be very easy to get a nice melody across with this and not sound shotgunny. Right, that's plucked. Let's go into picked. So nice, different sound completely to the plucked. You still have that ping at the top. You've got lots of room there between quiet and loud. You've got your 3 dynamic layers. You've got your 6 round robins with that. And nice little sound. As I say, I think it still needs a bit more space and a little bit of reverb, and I have turned it on max expression. Maybe a little bit more volume. I'm going to push that just a little bit more. Could just be my headphones are a little bit quiet today. Anyway, let's move now on to the tremolo patch. I think you do have different dynamic layers there, and you do have control over the expression. I think if there was multiple dynamic layers, what might have been nice to see is, I think that we see this on a lot of different products, is you have a dynamic fader where you can, as you're holding that note, go between the different dynamic layers to create, I guess, greater expression with your tremolo. Of course, you can do it with the expression knob there, but I think shifting between dynamic layers would have been a nice effect to add to that. But you have this lovely intimate tremolo, especially on the top there. And you can create some very interesting textures. Again, some spatialization with these sounds, I think, will go a long way. And there's a lot of free products that you can do that within your DAW. It's just a little bit of extra work. Let's move on to the Ebow. This one, actually, I have tried this one. It's very interesting and quite a different sound. You might not be expecting this. See, quite an electric sound. It is an Ebow, so E being, I think, electric. And what I like about it, it just gives you this almost Hammond organ sound. It's different. It still has that organic touch. I kind of wish the range was extended, even with all of these. I know some instruments you have, yes, this is the instrument. You can't play more than that because the instrument won't let you. But we've extended some of the samples, so if you really want to stretch out, it's really up to you. So that might have been nice to see, especially with the Ebow. I feel it would have worked really nicely because I do feel a bit cramped right here sticking to this range, and some of you might see I'm hitting maybe above it slightly. I do play in D major a lot, so I think I always play in D major actually. So I'm trying to hit this F here, and of course it's not doing anything. But I love, again, the velocity on this, and even if I wanted to tune it maybe a little bit more like that, I can, and just, you have... It's just a really nice organic sound. Let's leave it at that. Now, okay, so that's the main articulations. We're now moving on into mixed territory. The one thing I will say about these, and I kind of wish you could do, you have this volume knob here to kind of control the overall sound, especially if you're switching between articulations. It's nice that you can actually mix them in. I think they've done their best to try and mix them together, but depending how you're playing in velocity layers, it's nice the fact that you can fine tune them. But it would be nice to change the volume between the plucked and the Ebow. So right now this is a plucked and Ebow combo. Which I absolutely love. I love the fact you got this almost chill drone in the background with this organic pluck over the top. But it would be nice to be able to control the volume between the plucked and the Ebow. Or even, I know in some Spitfire libraries, if you hit one and click shift, you can play two articulations at the same time. So even something like that, so you can create your own interesting combos and adjust the volume within. But overall, I actually really do like the fact that they give you these options. But beautiful sound overall. And then of course picked and bow, Ebow, not bow. And tremolo and Ebow. If that's something you're looking for, plucked and tremolo. What's it like just with the... And it just gives you more emphasis, more push on the first one. I definitely like the Ebow combos there, but those two, don't know how much I would actually use them. But always nice to have, the more the merrier, I guess, when it comes to articulations. And don't forget, we do have our percussion added on there as well, added feature there. What we haven't really looked at is the Maqams, and that's because I'm probably not going to be the best example of playing within them. But if we do pick one at random and just go through the scale, maybe with the plucked, so you can see there some notes are blacked out. So if you are familiar with these scales, or you're writing Arabic music, you can quite easily pick your mode, pick your Maqam, and then compose within it within this instrument, as I've said before. Very nice and easy to do. Right, now we're going to go into more the experimental and additive portion of this video. We're going to add a reverb and we're going to add some spatialization. Right, on the screen now you can see I've added a reverb and Ozone Imager 2. Ozone Imager 2 is a free plugin available from iZotope. I'll leave a link in the description. It's great if you're starting out in the spatialization, or even if you're a pro. It's a really fun little plugin, easy to use. I love iZotope products. I use them a lot. They're just easy and quick, which in this industry is very important. And the reverb is the free one. It's the Space Designer. My favorite one, I've mentioned it in other videos, it's the Ancient Church Plus. You'll find that in large spaces, halls, and then right down there, Ancient Church Plus. So we're going to stick with the plucked one. If we can just show you that. There, as we can see, we're on plucked. We've got nothing else added. We're going to actually go back to our normal. This is how it sounds before we add reverb and spatialization. Make sure spatialization is actually turned off. So there we have it. And now we're going to add a little bit of reverb and probably fine tune it. I'm going to probably go all the way dry, go -5. Way too much for me. Maybe down to 2. I was going the wrong way. All right. There we go. That just... See, just a nice little echo, like you're in some Egyptian tomb. Just a little bit of reflection. Maybe minus. See, just adds so much more to the sound, a little bit of reverb. I think somebody has said that in the comments before, just reverb just smoothens everything out. And now let's just leave that on there in the background, and we're going to mess with the spatialization. Now we're going to turn this on, and what I'm going to do, I think, is click stereo eyes. I've said that before, I've gone sterilize. It's stereo eyes. So the sound is very much center, but add the reverb, of course, it adds a nice little bit of stereos. I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to butcher that word anymore. Ooh, and there's a second mode as well. Ooh, I like that one more. See what I mean with the range as well? I just feel squished. But overall, I think we're going to leave it there. You can see exactly what I've done there with adding reverb and spatialization. It just adds so much more to the sound. You have this really gorgeous, close mic'd, raw, almost mono sound. But with a little bit, seconds of work, you can add so much more to it. It is a lovely foundation and basis, especially if you're looking for an Egyptian lyre. If you look out there, there's really not much choice for this sort of instrument. I think Native Instruments do a couple of different ones, but it's a nice variation. You've got plenty of articulations, lots of round robins. It's a very solid base of an instrument. A little tweak here or there just makes it come out and bloom, just adding that little bit of reverb and spatialization. I think we've said that word enough in this video. So what do I like and what do I not like about it? I really like Rhapsody, this plugin we're using. We have this velocity map, which is really easy to play with. We have this envelope, especially for beginners. I feel this is really easy to wrap your head around and move around. I love the fact we have the Maqams. I really think that's a huge selling point to this instrument, the fact that we have these different modes. If you're going to use them, I definitely go for something like this. If you're not going to use them, you're just going to use a chromatic, up to you, really. I like the expression. It's nice having that knob there. Would it be nice to see a dynamic knob as well, especially for like the tremolo? I love the fact that we have all these articulations, but things I feel like really lacking is the reverb, maybe some mic positions. It is quite, as we saw on the graph, a very monophonic central sound. Some spatialization would be nice built in, but it's not too hard to create outside of it. But the samples are clean, they're crisp, and there's so much you can do with them. So I think it really is important to put the price in mind as well, especially since it's got its own dedicated plugin. There's a lot going for it. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.